Let's work on some word problems involving quadratic equations. Let's start out with a fairly straightforward one, and then we'll get things a little more complicated from there. So the sum of the squares of two consecutive positive even numbers is 580. Find the numbers. So let's start with what we know. From the given information, we know that x is the smaller number. The larger number then must be x plus 2. So then if I'm going to square, I have the sum, which means I'm adding, of the squares. So that means I have to square the two values of two consecutive positive even numbers is 580. So find the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with, I have x squared plus, in parentheses, x plus 2 squared, which gets me x squared plus x plus 2 in parentheses squared is a perfect square trinomial. So that is going to expand to x squared plus 4x plus 4, and that equals 580. I'm going to go ahead and combine some like terms here, and I'm going to get 2x squared plus 4x minus 576, whoops, there we go, equals 0. Why did I set it equal to 0? Because remember, in order to solve a quadratic equation, I want to set my values equal to 0. Then I can go ahead and factor these values. Using the cross method, I'm going to end up with the factored form of x minus 16 times x plus 18 equals 0, which then means either x minus 16 equals 0 or x plus 18 equals 0. So x can either equal 16 or x can either equal negative 18. Now, there's a problem with this. I'm looking for the sum of the squares of two consecutive positive even numbers. Negative 18 is not positive. So I know that x equals 16. But remember, when working with word problems, you have to go back and look at the context of the problem, see what they're asking. I'm looking for two consecutive positive even numbers. So based on my answer, if x equals 16, x plus 2 has to equal 18. So my two answers are 16 and 18. Let's turn it up a little now. The perimeter of a rectangle is 36 centimeters. The area of the rectangle is 80 square centimeters. Find the length of the longer side of the rectangle. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a picture, set up my problem. Let x centimeters be the length of the longer side of the rectangle. Here it is. So I do know that if I take the perimeter of a rectangle and I cut it in half, then I'm just dealing with a certain number and my length value. So I can take the width and take that perimeter divided in half, so that's 36 divided by 2, and that's going to equal my length. So if we take it to the next step here, I have my width. Since half of my perimeter is 18, then this value here, this unknown, plus this unknown has to equal 18. So now I have that my width is 18 minus the length. So I'm going to go ahead and use that to my advantage. So if this is x, then this is going to be 18 minus x. So now to go ahead and set up my quadratic equation, I know that the area is 80 square centimeters. So setting up my equation, I'm going to have x, which is over here, times 18 minus x, and that's going to equal 80 because area is length times width. So now I have 18x minus x squared, as I'm expanding these values, equals 80. When I move terms over to the right-hand side over here, I'm going to end up with x squared minus 18x plus 80 equals 0. Again, I remember to set my quadratic equal to 0 so that I can factor. And here, again, I could use the cross method, or I could also see that x minus 8 times x minus 10 equals 0. So x could either equal 8 or x could equal 10. But if I'm looking for the longer side of the rectangle, the longer side would have to be when x equals 10, because 10 is bigger than 8. So my answer is 10 centimeters. Cool. All right, now we're going to try one on our own. And by we, I mean you. So here's your challenge. A rectangular cardboard measures 29 centimeters by 21 centimeters. A picture is pasted on it, leaving borders of uniform width on 4 sides. The area of the picture itself is 345 square centimeters. Find the width of each border. You can go ahead and start. You can stop the video now. If you want a little hint, you can hold on for a couple seconds. But I'm giving you the chance to stop now because it's a pretty good hint. Did you stop? All right, well, here's the hint. We're going to go ahead and let x centimeters be the border width, and then we can write the length of the picture as 29 minus 2x in parentheses centimeters. How would you write the width? I feel I've given you too much. All right, go for it.